Breaking right now, Revenge Part 2. Tom Bower, the legendary royal author, is sharpening his quill for a new edition of his book set to reveal huge secrets inside Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's marriage. And this comes, by the way, just at the time that that odd little bloke, Omid Scobie, who for many years has been the number one propagandist for the Sussexes, has announced that he's quitting writing Meghan hagiographies altogether. No more is he going to stand up for this woman. Instead, he's writing a fictitious story about life within the royal family. Now, of course, my mind does go to odd places there because I think, hang on a minute, every single thing he has written about Meghan and Harry has been a work of fiction. I'm going to get analysis from our royal mastermind, Angela Levin, in just one moment. But first, let me take you through what Tom Bower has revealed. He's told the Daily Mirror, I've got a lot of new material already, and I think the whole world wants new insights. It's an amazing story. It's an eye-wateringly unique story because it's unprecedented. This is such a famous couple who are fighting for themselves all the time. They are relentless and restless, and that's what makes it so interesting. They have both been wounded, and what's fascinating about them is they don't stop fighting back, and the fight back is just as important as their survival. This battle for survival and the fight for revenge is increasing by the week. A lot of people were skeptical of the first book and couldn't quite believe it. Now more are converted to what I discovered then, and they'll be fascinated by what I've discovered now. So much has changed over the last 3 years, and so many new things have come out about them. He added, they have a crisis. Meghan wants to be a billionaire celebrity, and Harry doesn't understand that world other than understanding that Meghan wants to be famous. He's spent his whole life never having a penny in his pocket. He's never regularly travelled on the tube, never had to worry about having a car or a job. So he doesn't understand where she's coming from, which is that she worked phenomenally hard, struggled hard, and was constantly humiliated and wants the security of finance and status. She hasn't got the status she craves. She hasn't got the pulling power. He's stuck in California, clinging onto his royal status as she is. Harry's thinking is of reconciliation. That's just totally unrealistic. There is zero chance of reconciliation because there is irreconcilable anger on the part of William and Kate. Now, Angela Levin, we both know Tom Bower. He is a very thorough journalist. He has worked on a huge number of bombshell books about a huge number of major personalities. He does his research. He's been at the Invictus Games. He's been following Harry and Meghan around. I know for the first book, Revenge, and I'm very happy to say this, I spoke to him in some detail about what I knew, and I think that the book provided a lot of insight, actually, into the truth about Meghan Markle. Of course, we have been reporting the truth of these things for a long time too. But Harry and Meghan are going to be petrified about the idea of Tom Bower snooping back into their married life, right?
Yes, absolutely. There's a brilliant announcement by Tom about what he's going to say and what he's going to reveal. I mean, he's a brilliant writer, but he's also a brilliant advertising himself, and making you to want it and get it sorted before it's even anybody else can see it because it's not quite ready. I mean, he's really brilliant at that. I am very interested in all these things that he's going to show us, but also I want to know really about what happened to Meghan's mother. I mean, nobody's really talking about that. Meghan lived with her father most of her teenage years, and I'm just wondering, I thought Tom would do it in his last book, but he didn't, so that's obviously a very tricky one. But I hope that this one will come out with that, because I think it's a very, very important thing for us to know, because I think it made Meghan or it didn't make Meghan. It's very difficult for a teenager to cope with breaking up of a parent. And so I'm very interested in that. I'm also interested in the truth about the babies, the two children that we don't really know. So I think there's an awful lot to find out, and I hope that Tom does cover that, as well as them being in a crisis, which actually we can understand immediately because their lives are dreadful, really. When you've got that revenge that you hang on to, no matter what else you do. And Meghan is so determined. You know, she's going back 5 years now, and she wants to get her own back. And it's going to be very difficult for her, but she's going to fight and fight and fight. And Harry is doing that as well. But he's made so many errors that I don't think he'll stand a chance.
And what's so interesting, Angela, is that Harry and Meghan are losing their allies in the media. So many people have turned now. I'm going to come to Tina Brown in just one moment. She's made a whole load of fascinating new claims, highly respected royal author too. And then we look at the guy who was totally disrespected, who had no respect because unlike credible royal authors, like yourself, Angela, he was prepared to be completely caught up by spin and by lies that was given to him by the Sussex squad, by Team Meghan and by Meghan and Harry himself. And what's so interesting, just at a time that you thought Omid Scobie, or as Lady Colin Campbell calls him, Omid Scabies, this very odd-looking man. I mean, God, he spent too much time in Hollywood, Angela, because he is honestly reminding me of Michael Jackson these days. He really is. Very, very odd. Very odd what he's trying to do with his looks, given that he claims to be proudly mixed race, and yet he seems to be trying to adjust his appearance to appear more like a white man. Very odd man. And I've got some concerns actually about what's going on with him, Angela, up there, because, you know, he lies about his age and all of that type of stuff. So you can't believe a word that this guy says. But rather than write a new chapter in his Harry and Meghan trilogy, sort of like, oh, didn't they triumph in Hollywood? Didn't this all work out? He's walked away, Angela, because he knows that's just not a palatable story. His last book was a disastrous flop, Endgame, barely sold any copies. Yeah, he got media attention, but didn't sell anything, didn't sell anywhere near as much as one of your books, for example. And now he's given up on writing about the truth. He's actually going to be writing a fictitious tale of a handsome prince within the royal family. And how cringe is this, Angela? When the Daily Mail wrote a puff piece about this, talking about how he'd signed a 6-figure deal for this book, the guy actually posted on X saying it was actually 7, but who's counting? And I thought, you are so crass. You are so tacky. You're just like Meghan Markle. Nothing is about the truth. Nothing is about doing good work. Nothing is about credibility. It's all about the moolah, Angela. But it's interesting, isn't it, when you think Tom Bower's writing this new book, Scobie is not even trying to write a new book about Harry and Meghan because he knows it's just so bad.
Yes, I think that he is also got quite a lot of feeling of revenge because he was quite close to Meghan, wasn't he, for quite a long time? And they were near, and he would go and see her a lot and talk about it. And he was her voice. And he also knew when bang, she didn't want to have anything more to do with him. So that was the end of that. So I think in a way, he's much better off to try and find another area. And it's a co-author. He's got a young
Oh yeah, Angela,
author.
he's not writing it himself, is he? He can't write.
No. So he's got this person who's can actually make up story that it's not going to be the truth. It's just going to be a very interesting story, he hopes. He's sort of there to look after it, and the two of them are going to work on it. And it'll probably be probably a lot of people will buy it and read it, but we will all be looking for the lines between the lines, and
Exactly.
see
He's
the
just
hints are.
trading off the whole Meghan Markle thing. You're completely right. This
Yes.
is basically, oh, this is the stuff that Meghan told me, but I couldn't actually put in the book for legal reasons. It's going to be all of that. And can I just say, if you want true, real reporting with the exclusives that the Royal Rota won't touch, sign up to my Substack, www.outspoken.live. You get first access to our Royal Uncancelled after shows Monday to Friday, plus my whole catalogue of exclusives, and I would really appreciate it too. Angela, Tina Brown, very, very credible woman too, and she used to be pretty much team Meghan, right? Like, she was certainly not a hater from the early days. And she is considered highly credible. And there's been a brand new interview that she's given to Semaphore Media where she just talks about how badly it's all fallen apart for Meghan and Harry. So I'll get your analysis in just one moment, but let's listen to the first part now.
I mean, obviously there are Meghan lovers and Meghan haters. I mean, the palace just doesn't really think about Meghan anymore. It's almost like she's gone. And I think the tragic aspect is Harry, I mean, the thing about Meghan is she's really not bad at anything that she does. I mean, she has a huge kind of influencer following, if you like. It seems like, when she puts on, a shirt or whatever, or carries a handbag, it sells out, right? Which means that she clearly has a following of people who really like what she stands for in some ways. Her problem is just that she is so ADD. I mean, she just never stops making announcements and never really sort of follows through. It's like, whoops, I'm going to be a cooking show. Nah, I'm going to be a podcast. And hello, I've got a beauty line. I mean, it's like, just do one of those things, do it really well, and then do something else. She's weirdly panic-stricken in her sort of business model in some way. Maybe she's just so devoid of self-confidence that she's always trying to be a sort of instant Beyonce or instant Michelle Obama without the sort of, the background essentially that has built those people, those kind of very, very strong structures on which they stand. So that's really been her problem. I think if she'd simply succeeded at one thing and then done another thing, I think she'd be in a much, much better place. But, she's enormously frankly, sort of shallow in her approach to the work she does.
I thought that was really smart and actually fair analysis from Tina Brown. Angela, did you?
Yes, I do. I mean, she said the things that work very well with her, that her clothing is very popular with other people, and they want to see it. They see her looking very nice in it, and so they want it too. But that's absolutely obvious that you can't do so many different things all at once and think you're getting on with them well, because you need to give attention to each thing that you want to do for quite a long time till you get it right. But she's got no patience. This is the whole thing, that she wants to do something and she cuts it off. She wants this friendship and she cuts it off. She's very nervy. She's very lacking in confidence, actually. I think she's got this acting way of saying, nobody can make me upset. I'm so clever. I'm so good. Apart from her sort of, oh no, poor me. She changes her reality all the time. But nobody can do that, is it? If you think, how can you? It's just too demanding. And also you don't let people in to understand it and to build up. I mean, take for the jam, which has had lots of "this is disgusting" comments, but try and make it better, build it up. If you've had only 50 people that you sent it out to, then see what they say, listen to them, and then build it up, make it a bit better. And that way you've really done something very good. But she's all edgy and nervy, and she must do this, she must do that. And she wants to be the most important woman in the world. And so this is how she does it, which is actually not going to get her anywhere, because she hasn't got the patience. And if you think you want to compare her to a very well-known woman, she can't do that, because she hasn't got the ability to listen and to be told what to do, and then enhance that by what you feel about it, but she won't listen how to do anything. She won't take advice. And so that's a very negative way of doing it. And I think that what you're saying now is absolutely right. Absolutely spot on. It's not spiteful. It's analysing it extremely well.
Yeah, indeed. And there was more from Tina Brown, actually, which I think is worth listening to. But first, a 2024 study links caffeine to higher anxiety risk. Half of North Americans are sensitive to it, and 40 million Americans are diagnosed with anxiety. Coffee jitters fuel anxiety, yet it's the most used drug in the world. I was trapped too. It wasn't with coffee, though. It was chugging diet energy drinks like sugar-free Red Bull to get a caffeine hit. And my God, it was so bad for me. I'd feel jittery, anxious, and then exhausted, by the way, by the mid-afternoon. Then I heard Andrew Huberman talking about the theobromine, which is found in chocolate and provides a gentler, longer-lasting energy boost without the anxiety by improving blood flow, getting more oxygen and fuel in your brains and muscles. And this led me to Morning Being by Verso, a brew with theobromine and all the good things in chocolate, along with antioxidants and electrolytes for all-day energy, hydration, and focus. It's rich, chocolatey, smooth, and great hot or cold, and not like other coffee alternatives, which I have to be honest, taste awful. On top of increasing energy, Morning Bean's ingredients have been shown to reduce stress, enhance mood, and balance blood sugars. Cocoa powders, drinks, and products are often contaminated with high levels of toxic heavy metals. But the great thing about Verso is it conducts third-party testing on every batch they produce to ensure they have pure, high-quality cocoa, prioritizing safety and high flavanol content. Since I started taking Morning Bean, I feel more focused, with less energy crashes. I also like how I get my daily dose of superfoods from it. So if you're looking to replace your coffee or your second cup, give Morning Bean by Verso a try. Click on the link in the description box, or you can head on over to morning.ver.so/outspoken. Make sure you use the coupon code outspoken when you check out, and you will save 15% on your first order. So let me just give you that address again. Morning, the word morning.ver.so/outspoken. And when you check out, use the coupon code outspoken to save 15%. But now, back to the show.
Who do you get the sense is in her kind of inner circle? Who is advising her on kind of some of the moves that she's kind of been making?
Well, what I hear from everyone is that she's unadvisable, and that is the issue. You know, she's had a lot of good people willing to give advice to her. But what has irritated the people who do, and big people who do, is that they sit with her and they give her very good advice, and she kind of appears to be extremely, motivated by it. And then she doesn't do it and does something completely else. She's sort of worn out her advisory, circle, essentially, who just be like, well, what's the point? She's not going to do it. And unfortunately, she's the major advisor to Harry. So, I mean, she doesn't take advice and he only takes hers. So that's not a very good combination, really, for either of them.
Angela, what she's saying there is completely true. And it's been true for years. And the problem is, Angela, that's why so many people have just given up now. Ari Emanuel at WME, for example. If you're not going to take my advice, then what's the point? What's the point? And she has lost great advisors. She even had great advisors during her time in the royal family. The problem is she didn't want to do what they told her to do.
Yeah. Well, she thought if she was going to work within a royal home, that she would actually decide how they should work, what they should do, and to put her in charge. What she doesn't want is to give. She wants to take, so that she'll be older and better and everybody will think she's more and more wonderful. But it's not like that, is it? The people who are in the royal family at a high level give. They want to help people. But Meghan she's fed up with that, isn't she? She's not doing that anymore. So she's trying things that can't answer her back, with jam. That it's actually very difficult for her to fit in. She's a troubled woman, and she doesn't know how to manage things at all, at any level. I mean, all the rudeness that have been alleged about her dealing with staff is actually a dreadful thing, but she has to prove that she's very senior and high up in the royal ladder. So she has to shout and scream and make sure they know who they're dealing with. But actually, this doesn't work like that because, for example, all the staff and Buckingham Palace are very well looked after. It's a sort of family. They don't get so much money, they have to work hard, but they don't actually start shouting at each other or feeling that they are very useless.
Angela, we're just learning that the Prince of Wales, Prince William, is going to be attending the funeral of Pope Francis instead of His Majesty the King. Does that decision surprise you at all, Angela, given we know Charles, I mean, he literally moved his wedding date to Camilla in order to attend the funeral of Pope John Paul II, but he is undergoing this cancer treatment, and he did just make that trip to Italy where he got to see Pope Francis weeks ago.
Yes. I think that meeting that he and Queen Camilla saw and talked to him is actually quite satisfying, that you were there. Thank goodness he agreed to see you. I think he would have been very upset if he wasn't, if he couldn't see him. He was too ill at first, but then he obviously made time. And I think that has been satisfying for him. Whereas William is actually doing all these things now, going around the world and actually acting as the heir to the throne. And I think that he will behave brilliantly. He's very popular, he's charming, and he can go over there and then whiz back. And I think that is much more sensible. They are going off to celebrate their 14th wedding anniversary too, actually, which will be very nice for them. And they're going to Scotland, which is where they spent such a lot of time. And that will be very nice. And I think he won't mind at all. He's very good like that. And he's actually really fulfilling his position.
Quite a major moment for Prince William, Angela. I mean, this will, without any doubt, be the biggest diplomatic event of his life thus far. Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, has confirmed he is attending the funeral, and I believe Donald Trump has too. So it's going to be a big moment for William, and I think it will be very interesting to see if he takes Catherine, the Princess of Wales. I would imagine probably not, given that Starmer's wife, disappearing wife, Lady Victoria, is not going to be attending.
Yes, well, she's actually stepping further and further back, isn't she? She didn't want to get particularly involved. She's a nurse, and I think that less seen, the happier she is, I think. But I think Prince William is very popular with Trump, and he's going to be coming over at some point, I think just after the summer, Trump is. And I think he likes the family very much, and it would take a lot off the king doing that. I don't think that means he's particularly ill now, because he did go there and they did have a talk. They both wished each other well. It's unfortunate that the Pope did die, but you have that feeling that you were there at an important time.
Yes, I mean, at this point, Angela, the royal family have not released any further details, or Kensington Palace have not released any further details. Again, and I don't, I'm not trying to be hysterical or anything like that, but I think this is now quite a sad changing of the guard, and it's certainly not what King Charles would have wanted this early in his reign. I'm pretty certain that if he were able to be at this funeral, if his doctors were prepared to allow him to go to Vatican City, he would go. What I would say, though, Angela, is that it's very sensible of him that he is clearly listening to the medical advice.
And his wife.
Yeah, exactly. Slow down, Charles. Try not to do too much. This is actually good for the royal family to have Prince William there. Angela, can I ask you too about what went on over Easter? Because quite a lot of consternation about the fact that William and Catherine did not attend the service at Windsor, but we learned that they did go to church at Sandringham. They took the children to church with the Middletons, with Catherine's parents. And of course, they have a very close bond with the Middleton family. Some speculation, Angela, and this is particularly being pushed by the Daily Mail, that it may have been because Andrew was there with Charles.
Ahead.
But I'm not certain that that's the reason that William wouldn't have gone, because of course he has attended lots of these services with Andrew since he stepped back from royal duties.
Well, I think, you see, it was the last weekend of the children
Yeah.
being away. And I think that this was a lovely time where they could be together in their own home. And I think that that's really why they didn't want to go. It's very different. And the atmosphere that they would want to have with the children would be quite different. So I think that was be very good. I mean, I know from the long time ago, William said that before they were even married, that he said that they've made him feel part of the family, even though they haven't known him for so long. And I think that that's an extremely moving, wonderful thing for a man who had a very difficult upbringing, and that he felt that he could be part of his girlfriend's then family. And he's enjoyed them ever since. That's why they go away together. And that's why they spend a lot of time together. And the Catherine's parents have been very, very helpful while she was ill, and they're always there for them. And I think to be with the children for the last weekend before they go back to school is a very nice, cozy thing to do. And perhaps they haven't seen Carol, Catherine's mother, for quite a long time. So this would be a very nice thing.
Yeah, indeed. And look, Angela, I guess I should just point out as well, because maybe I'm jumping to conclusions about Charles's health, because when you think about it, Angela, the late Queen Elizabeth II very rarely attended funerals, right? So when Charles went to the funeral of Pope John Paul II, he was attending in his mother's place. So maybe it's not a health thing.
Isn't it? It put the wedding one day back.
Yeah.
That he was getting married to.
So maybe
Catherine.
I'm jumping to conclusions, I guess is what I'm saying. It might just be that Charles wants to follow that protocol of not attending too many funerals as head of state.
Yes, I think that makes a lot of sense. Yes, the Queen didn't go, and someone would go on her behalf to represent her, and this would be William representing King Charles, and doing very well. It might have been very different if Charles hadn't actually been to see him, and he'd feel quite guilty and probably would insist on going. But no need. They were together. They spoke very nicely and wished each other well. And Camilla came in the right black dress. You mustn't turn up in anything else. And so it was all according to what it should have been. And then William will do it. I think he's being marvelous every chance he does to help his father. It seems he's willing to do it, which is just what we need, isn't it?
Indeed. And of course, maybe the most important thing for Charles is that he got to see Pope Francis just before his death in person.
Yes.
Angela Levin,
Yes.
thank you so much. We will speak later in the week.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.